Introduce yourself, please.
Hey, Manana, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to see you.
Okay, introduce yourself, please. 1 minute pitch.
Okay, so I'm Alex. I'm CEO and co-founder of Restream. So I was born in Ukraine, serial entrepreneur, started building company 18 years old. So far, created like 4 companies, and like Restream is the most successful one. Moved to the United States a year ago.
And you raised more than $50 million, actually.
Correct, 55 in total. So
55. Wow, guys.
Yeah, so during Series A, yeah, so on the Series A, it was our last round, so it was 50 million. But prior that, in total, we raised 5 from different type of investors, from institutional investors and also from small angels.
And it's really amazing because you know, based it in New York City or Silicon Valley. You base it in Austin.
Correct. Yeah. So it's because of some circumstances in the past. We've been rejected by all accelerators on the West Coast, and by some circumstances, yeah. So we've been invited to a non-accelerator in Austin, Texas, and we graduated it. So we had a chance. We've been accepted. Yeah, and after that, or during. At the time, we found a lot of great partners, and again, also mentors, investors, and then we decided to stay in Austin. And I also spent some time in Bay Area. So during our seed round, we were trying to raise capital, and I had a chance to pitch to a lot of investors on the West Coast.
More than 100, yeah?
Yeah, yes, I would say probably 150, even more. So it was hard to count. Every day we had a lot of meetings, and yeah, and it was very frustrating for us. I would say it's not an easy process to raise capital, especially.
Yeah, it was actually the checklist. Like more than 99% investors say, like, sorry guys, what about the traction? We don't know you. It was.
It's much easier. Sorry for the interruption. There are a few things. It's much easier to sell to investors, to pitch to investors when you have a track record. And track record could be your previous companies which you started, or maybe you've been involved in some successful startups in the past, or you've been involved in mega corporations such as Google. So, and if you've done some work there, investors, they like shiny things, and they become more warm to your ideas. And if you're a foreigner and you have some limitation with your language, with your communication skills, it's definitely much harder to do.
Interesting. And what is your superpower? What something you do better than others, guys? What is your secret?
I'm just a human, and I'm not sure that I have some superpowers. Okay, so probably one of it is that I understand that I know nothing, and I'm curious, and when I try to start something new, I just understand that I'm amateur, and I don't have some cliche in my head, like some sticks which make it more complex to start learning. So I always, when I start something new, I start from the new, like, just clear paper. And yeah, I try to be modest in terms of when you try to learn and ask questions. I don't want to, so I don't care if I look dumb or not. So I like to, yeah, ask questions. I like to Google things, and I understand that, honestly, what I learned so far is that I understand that nobody understands on this planet. So what we are here. So why do we live here? So what is our purpose? What is as humanity? And if you find people who tell you that they know, probably they lie to you. And in terms of, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, no. What do you think? What is the most important skills for the unicorn founders?
For the unicorn founders, so Restream doesn't have a unicorn status so far. So for me, it would be hard to explain and give an accurate answer. So maybe next year. So I will let you know. So when we reach the status, I hope so. So it would be something.
Oh, but what do you think? Because they have a lot of unicorns right now. Yeah, and it seemed like the 10 years ago, like at Twitch, Twitter, and Airbnb, Uber start because of
Correct.
new business models, share economy, and right now it's like a so booming in gaming, in entertainment industry. But how are you feeling? What is the most important skills for the like unusual unicorn founders?
Like I feel that to build, if we talk about to build, I feel that all these founders, they just people like everyone, so they have heads, legs, arms, and so to build the unicorn itself, probably it's a mix of things. You have to be, it has to be right timing, go to the market. So you should have a demand. You should have a right product, and you also should have a team. And if we talk about personal skills, you need to be focused, persistent, and never give up. You have to be flexible and understand that something that you build today, there is a possibility that it will not be needed tomorrow. And when you build something, you need to understand that it could be burned tomorrow. So you don't need to be attached so much, because what I found personally, especially when you work with engineers, when you develop something, and you spend a lot of days, nights to work on your project, and then it's hard to close it, and it's very emotional. I saw many tears on at engineers' eyes because they were thinking that what they built will be needed and it will be stay forever. And we live in a time when, because of technology, because it accelerates so fast all our aspect of life, we need to be more agile, more flexible in terms of how we look at things. And I feel that those type of founders, they always question themselves if they do right things to like wake up, and they try to rethink some processes.
Why did you start Restream? What is the storytelling?
It's a long story. So we previously
Because it's all about storytelling. Look at the Robin Hood, for example, or Airbnb. It's like a short story, And then they talk the discrete. Actually, guys, they want to change, because like during the live stream, you can say like the fuck, for example, and the script, it's Horowitz company, and they want to change this, like fix this during the live stream. But what about Restream?
Like I like Descript a lot, and I believe founder of Descript previously started Groupon, so it was very successful. And so Descript has a huge potential, and it gives you an ability to edit things in text editor. So
but they want to crash like the same like the Robin Hood guys. They want to crash Wall Street, because of like stocks. Yeah, but what about your company? Why you start this like 4 years ago or 5?
Okay, so
completely different time, and then I figure out it was a lot of like the gaming stuff.
Okay, I will split an answer on 3 things. First of all, I'm going to describe what is Restream, and then I will tell about how we started it, so and why we started it. Okay, so Restream. So we use right now Restream. So it's a tool, a cloud tool, which gives you an ability to broadcast live video to all social platforms at the same time. And we empower amateurs and professionals, and our goal to help them produce high quality live video content and help them to distribute it and monetize it. So Currently, we support more than 30 social platforms, and we are official partners of platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, etc. And we started this company 5 years ago, and one of the idea behind was to help content creators also try all the social platforms, because we basically try to democratize live video streaming space, because as a content creators, sometimes you could be locked with one of it. And for instance, I give you an example, this Mixer platform, which was a gaming platform, and it was acquired by Microsoft, and they shut down this platform like a year ago. And a lot of content creators built audience there, and they were making money, so they were sharing words and like producing content for this platform. And at the end, they lost everything. And in that case, but we saw it 5 years ago. We knew that it could be a situation, and we decided to build something which will help you as a content creator keep like eggs in different buckets. It was one of the things. Another value that we were trying to bring is just to give you more visibility and help you to build audience and aggregate more eyeballs across all of the social platforms, because sometimes you don't understand who is your audience in the beginning or what is the right platform of choice. And with Restream, you can try all of them, which is good.
And, interesting. But how is work for the, what is your killer feature? Like, what is your, like, something unique? Because of, I remember that in Twitch, like the cloud recording. Let's call it like something like this, but it's looked like the bullshit, because, you know, okay, after your games, actually, if you want to use something like a chatbots or maybe like the special studio, you want to edit it this, yeah, but the quality, it's not great, you know. Yeah, and what is your killer app or killer feature?
Restreaming itself is a killer feature. So basically, we invented this functionality, and we took this functionality and offer it to consumer market. So before us, nobody on the market was offering an ability to stream to a few social platforms your live video at the same time. So it's the reason why we named our company Restream. So nobody was doing it. So we are pioneer in this field, and it's one of our killer features. And then, and at the beginning, it was the cloud, and basically you could connect all streaming software such as OBS or Zoom or XSplit or vMix, and Restream was just a middleware between social platform and streaming software, which you can download and install on your laptop. And recently, like at the beginning of the year, we also launched Restream Studio, and currently we are using it. So, and it's basically a browser-based studio which help you to compose and create a scene. So you don't need a third-party application like OBS. And I feel that it's a new, let's say, killer feature. And we have not been the first on the market with this type of functionality, but I believe in a short period of time, we will be the best solution. We are already, in terms of level of functionality, we're one of the best solutions on the market. So,
and what is your, like the new features in your pipeline? What it should be, like the green screen or maybe text to podcast? What it should be, how you can help to the creators, because you know OBS Studio, it's so complicated. It's so like I don't know, so like a dumb. Maybe for not for the gamers, but for the prosumers, for the sole entrepreneurs, you know, like small companies, brands. Yeah, it's a little bit not like the trendy right now. But what is your next steps? Do you want to use artificial intelligence for this?
It's a great question. Thank you for this, Manana. So honestly, we have a very interesting roadmap, and we are going to some markets which we were considering before, but yeah, so because of COVID, some of these verticals start growing faster. And we definitely are going to invest more time and efforts in studio itself. And the goal is to make it the best tool which will help all these amateurs produce high quality content without doing any mistakes. So for instance, like Medium for blogs. So we cannot control the substance of the content, but we can control look, how the view of it. So we are going to pursue this like strategy, and we will polish our interface or our products, studio product. Okay. And if you talk about green screen, etc., those things are very small. But we also have in our pipeline some disruptive things which nobody has on the market. And when we started Restream, it was a disruptive tool. It's how we start acquiring users. We grew organically, and we continue to grow organically today. And we have a few other things which also disruptive, and but I cannot disclose them. I can say that we are going to touch some, let's say, standard verticals such as e-commerce. However, there are some interesting closed loops in the product pipeline which we are going to implement next year. And I feel
it's like the payment processing. Actually, they have same startups in China, for the e-commerce and shopping, for the actually for the fashion industry and for the jewelry. Actually, like it's look like the Instagram for the streaming. Yeah, it's a great idea.
So, we have a lot of ideas. So the goal is to test them fast and identify which ideas will make to invest our efforts.
Interesting. And tell me more about community strategy, because I remember, first of all, you're running something new for the gamers, and it was free. And actually, guys from the majors like YouTube, Twitch, they actually really love you. Yeah, because they so excited about the product. And how did this? What about your community? Why it's so sustainable?
I'm not sure that we are sustainable. Yeah, so you're right. We started from the gaming industry because at that moment, 5 years ago, live video being more attached to the gaming field. And one of the main reasons it's because it's much easier to produce content on this market. So, for instance, before we've been involved in education space, and if you're a tutor and or any type of expert, you need to be prepared before you go live. You need to prepare some materials what you want to share and with others. And when it comes to gaming, it's much easier to produce content. So you just need to start playing your game, and you need to capture your just
screen.
Your screen, and that's it. And you go live, and the picture is always unique because in the game itself, developers already they thought about what type of scenarios you as a player can take, and it's always unique, and it has a high level of engagement. And so it's the reason why gaming and live video became very popular. It was very easy to produce content. And also another part of the effect, there were some professionals in gaming. It's like, in 90s, I remember when I was a student, or even so when I was a student, I remember cases when we were visiting some clubs, and you could play Counter-Strike, and it was very engaging when you can watch some professionals play. So so they were not going to college, but they were playing 24/7, and it was insane how awesome they've been and how professionally they could win. And I remember it was always an engagement for young kids and for students, just to watch this type of experts in gaming. And this effect which applied, and it's the reason why live video and gaming became so popular. And so we started from this and then we realized that other verticals also had also interest in this field, and we saw some musicians, and after that politicians, and after that faith-based organizations, and step by step technology became easier to use, and you basically don't need to have a professional equipment to start streaming, and more and more mature audience start utilizing live video. And when COVID hit, basically it was a huge acceleration, and also this Zoom effect was applied. So, and everyone lost this fear of staying in front of the camera, and and basically of remote work, everyone started using Zoom, and everyone realized that live video is a powerful tool for producing content. And we basically shift from gaming to a mass market, and currently our community, we still support gamers, and we continue working on new functionalities, but we also believe
for the content creators. I remember the story that president of the Latin American country, like Argentina,
correct. And
I don't know why they want to use like the US-based startup, but it's so amazing. And I have one more question. And what's going on the technology side? Do you think, is it possible for any tech startup to become like a mega player? Not like a unicorn, maybe more. What is your competitive advantage by this technology companies like the YouTube, Amazon, Facebook? How do you create these partnerships? How you like feeling?
It's a very philosophical question. First of all, we don't see them as competitors. We look at them as partners. On the technology side, we focus on a few things, and we have a very passionate team. And when you develop a huge company like Amazon, there are a lot of factory workers, so they are not so motivated to do great things. And we are very hungry, so I believe that we have an ability, our team has an ability to build something great and become a unicorn in a couple of years, because we just have a strong focus, and we very, very sharp. We understand where we are going and what we want to build. And in terms of building something more than unicorn, it definitely requires a lot of persistence. And again, it's very hard to predict, and there are a lot of aspects on the market. So it could be some shifts on the market, and so for instance, like COVID destroyed a lot of industries, or at least slowed down them for 3-4 years. And it could happen with any industry, so we need to be ready as entrepreneurs.
And next question, what about you investors? How to find the right guys on your board and lead investors too? What is your advice? Share your story, please.
Oh, I'm not sure that I'm very experienced in picking investors. So I know that, okay, so maybe, but still I could be more experienced than some people who never started companies before and never raised capital. So from my experience, it would be nice to work with people who've been involved in tech. If you build it, have been involved in industries where you're going. So if you talk about tech, someone from your investors had to be an entrepreneur in tech or very attached. So I would suggest to take money if you just started from just angels, from people who are just passion and they want to support the community of startups. And they could give you great advice, and they can be hands-on, and because they've been in your shoes and they just very empathic. So I would suggest take money on the first step from angels who've been entrepreneurs in the past. And when it comes to institutional investors, so for instance, we were looking at a few signals First of them was portfolio. So we've been curious in what companies this fund invest in the past, and can we build some relationship with these portfolio companies, and also partners itself. So if they have some track record, have been they like, did they been, or I don't know how to say it. So are they entrepreneurs themselves? Have they ever started companies? So who they are? So, and you deal with people, and all these funds, there are also people like a company. Company is just a group of people. And I feel that you just need to listen your intuition, and another thing, don't take money from people who never invested before, or so we had a chance with our previous companies to money from people who just decided to try become an investor, and it was horrible situation because they just didn't understand that we could lose money, and when we lost money, so we got some negative emotions, and it was very, very sad. So
maybe it should be investors after the Zoom, after the YouTube and Twitch. But how do you know how much money do you need? Or maybe, and plus one more question, do you have a plan B if it's something happen?
What do you mean behind plan B? Just a pivot or just?
Yeah.
No,
because,
like,
yeah, and plus it's all about chat, because $50 million, it's too much, you know?
I don't know if it's too much. I feel it could be a very small amount for some people or companies. So for Elon Musk, so his net worth is like, wealth is 150 billion. So what is the 50 million for Elon Musk? Is nothing. And for us, it's
I don't know. Maybe it's for the peak, the chip, you know. It was like about so funny because it's like a biotech technologies or space technologies, but according like the Twitch or same startups, and it's because of your exit strategy. But maybe sometimes you're thinking about the fact, like you say, plan B.
Okay, so I can say a few things in terms of how much money to raise. So it basically have to be. I heard that you have to raise enough money to survive for a runway like 15, 16 months, and it's not a good thing to raise a lot of capital at the beginning, because if you don't have a team and you don't have a product, it's just a bad idea. Because by raising a lot of money, you could become a bit too confident, and you could hire people who doesn't like your idea, who just like your money. And I would recommend at the beginning to invest your own money or work without capital at all before you find a product market fit or just build an MVP. Then raise capital from angel investors. After that, go to seed investors, and after that, go to like high venture funds if you want. And also, one of the important things is just don't focus on valuation at the beginning, and because sometimes could be a situation when you can sell very good, and you can convince investors that your company valuation is very high, and then it could be a problem because you in a year or two could be in a situation when you cannot prove it, and in that case you can lose the company, and you will be a slave for a few years, and you will be acqui-hired by some other companies, and you will work for them for free, and because investors would like to return capital.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose money, correct? So I would recommend be very careful with the amount you raise. So if you don't understand how to utilize it, but also there are some other let's say suggestions from, for instance, Jack Ma from Alibaba. I heard that he mentioned once that it's always great to take money when they're cheap, so when you don't need them, because in that case you can get better offer. So I feel that it has to be a balance. And in our case with Restream, I don't know. So if we, it's too early to say if we've been right that we raised this amount, or it's too late to raise this amount, or it's too early. I could tell you in or you will see it in a year probably.
What about plan B?
And I never have a plan B, and because if you
believe in your idea,
you just need to be obsessed with your idea, and if you think about plan B, it means that you already do not focus enough on the play A. Because if you start thinking about plan B, it means maybe if you got this things or you saw the thoughts in your head, so probably you start thinking you need to start thinking about if play A is so good, and I'm not confident in it. So why do you proceed with the plan A? So in our case, we have plan A only. So that's it.
Yeah. And interesting thing with your board. Do you have a board? How it's look like for your routine? You have the meetings every 1 month. How you think about this?
You mean about board meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like. And we do it once per quarter. And even this year, we just had 3 board meetings instead of 4. So
wow. How are you feeling when the investors want to control you?
Honestly, it depends on your partners. So if you do the right things, they don't want to control you. So if you do wrong things, I mean, if you do not grow enough, definitely they will start asking you questions. But if you do right things, everyone likes you, everyone loves you. But it's and the same thing with investors. And if you talk about board meetings itself, so I don't like them because you need to spend a lot of time, too much time to be prepared. But also what I found recently, and we had our last board meeting a few weeks ago, that the process of preparation was very helpful. So it was good exercise for me and for Andrew.
For the vision, and for the strategy side. Okay, and what is the most challenging thing right now for the Restream team, and how what do you see as the future of the live streaming for the I don't know, for short term, 6 months, maybe for the 2-3 months, like you say, you actually should be unicorn in next year. You should.
Yeah, so we have some plans, but again, it's hard to predict because we cannot control everything around, and on the macro level. If we talk about main challenges, one of the main challenge is hiring. So how to find great talents, and it was always a challenge for us since we started company, because we are very picky. We try to find people who fit our culture and who are collaborative and who has the right attitude, who can work without micromanagement and be independent. And honestly, when we raise capital, it doesn't affect. Basically, it doesn't simplify hiring process, because what you can find people whom expectations could be of compensation expectations would be higher, but in terms of performance, it doesn't mean that you will invest, you will spend this money right. So what I would say, so as a conclusion, money which you raised is not equal high quality, skilled, and good people. So
hiring for the technology side, or for the business development and marketing for the US market.
For everything, and so for everything, and especially if you do it in since we grew up in Ukraine and or in Eastern Europe, correct? So there are some mentality,
culture,
and it's very hard to do. And but we still continue investing in this region, and we try to find great talents, and we try to raise them. Simultaneously, yeah. So we start hiring people like, over the world, and because of working remotely.
For the different markets, or because of remote work?
It's a good question. I would.
I don't know if you wanna, for example, if it should be like the market for the Japan, you know, it's so complicated. Of course, it should be people from Asia.
Yeah, currently we focus on North America and Europe, like English-speaking countries, and we have some presence in LATAM, and we have plans to go to Asia. Yeah, but currently again, so it depends on the position. So if we talk about customer success support, so we support our customers and free users 24/7, and basically the location of hire depends on the time zone. So we try to find people to basically cover our schedule. If you talk about engineers, so it's Europe, it's European time zones. If you talk about business development, marketing, sales, and yeah, so operations, recruiting. So we also start looking in the United States as well, on the West, on the East Coast. But currently the goal is also hire people in Austin, because it's a hot place and very warm. A lot of people move from California, and we feel that we're in the right.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky actually, because a lot of people, they're like a really high talented. They move from Cali. You're so lucky. You know.
Yeah. So when we will get status what we want, I mean, when we build company what will help a lot of people, then I could confirm that we're lucky. For now, we still have a lot of gaps in processes, and we still a small startup, even if we raised today.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about technology trends. What is the next big thing in next year or maybe 2 years? What do you think? It should be optimizing artificial intelligence, VR, XR, maybe something new for the telehealth, because actually your platform could work for the medical part as well. Maybe robotics, blockchain, maybe finance, or I don't know, like green energy. What is education plus gaming?
No, like I feel that it's not the technology. It's only one part of the story. So it's and I feel that it's not right to look at the world from the technology side. And if you try to build startup, you first of all should have an idea in which area you want to work, and which area you want to disrupt. So what would be your mission? So, and then you pick technology. So if you start your company from the technology angle, so you could have this blockchain bubble that, oh, like let's build startups on blockchain, and let's use this contracts because we know the technology. But the problem being that it was a bubble because people were just focusing on technology, not on the value what you could create by using the technology. And I feel that a lot of, by the way, engineers look at the world from this angle. So technology is just a tool. It's like you want to become designer, and you feel that you're a designer because you start, let's say, learning about Photoshop or Figma or Sketch, etc. It's how I started. So I was thinking, oh, like I learned how to like polish some pictures, and oh, I'm a web designer. But basically, it was a wrong approach. So you need to design things on the paper in your head first, and then you should pick right technologies. But again, so if you want to talk about in what areas would be, so you can basically apply right. If you have a right idea and you pick right technology, you can disrupt any industry. And if you're a young entrepreneur, I suggest to, first of all, do not go to some very deep hardware and like very like
red ocean, yeah, it's called like a red ocean.
No, so basically, if you want to build capital, I would suggest go to the software and like maybe AI in terms of, and then it's just easier to produce and it's easier to learn, because if you go to hardware space or you want to go to bioengineering, so it requires a lot of years of research and you could become a good scientist. Or if you're smart enough, you can apply someone else's research and could be successful. Again,
great idea.
In my opinion, if you talk about like nearest future, in what areas I would be interested myself, definitely it would be something related to biology, chemistry, and artificial intelligence, like AI, because I feel that, so this symbiosis between robots and humans, so it will be like
a sci-fi something, you know?
I think, yeah. So like Neuralink,
what great example,
Elon Musk. So I think these areas would be very impactful. But again, for the humanity, and it's very interesting. Also, agriculture is a good thing, correct? So when you can
and robotics too, like the drones,
artificial meals, etc. So and all these vertical farms. So all these things are very interesting. And you just need to pick something which you're passionate about and which is scalable and which could have an easy path to distribute things. Or at least you need to be very persistent to spend like 15 years to build a valuable company in some of these fields. In terms of easy things, I would say that data sets and artificial intelligence, like machine learning, those areas, and if we combine them with
the productivity goals,
crowdsourcing. So when you basically collect a lot of data points in any sector, it could be meaningful. And you could easily build something interesting for the market. It could be in medicine, it could be in any part. So you just need to collect a lot of data, and you need to analyze it right, and so you can build a good startup.
And what's going on with COVID? Why the venture capital ecosystem and tech landscape like changed last 5 years, and during the COVID, what's going on? Because you was before, and after that you raised $50 million. How are you feeling about this? What's going on in venture capital and technologies?
Honestly, as I mentioned before, I know nothing, and from
no, but how it was like before you was company, and I remember the story with Y acceleration program and the Techstars. They actually say something like critical about Restream, but after the COVID and after the Zoom, you're so sexy, like your company, like wow, Restream, because it's streaming, because it's creators, because it's like the really promising technologies and market, and that you have a lot of enterprise clients and numbers and a really great team. And I think because of COVID.
Well, like it's not because of COVID. COVID just helped us a bit, but we are 5 years old company and we always been break even. We were making money, so it's we are not a bubble. We built our own infrastructure. We build our own technology. So it just a lot of hard work, and we started it from scratch without any capital, from small city in Ukraine. And without this city, Vinnytsia.
Is it was like a bootstrapping? Or you have?
Yeah, we bootstrapped it, and we got some 50K from a few angels at the beginning. Then we got it, but it was like
it's like $50,000, like nothing.
Correct, and it was a lot for us. because we could lease infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because before we were just lending money from our friends, and it was very hard because we failed at our previous startup, and it was a crisis.
Wow. Yeah, I remember. It was like it was more than half of $1 million. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow.
And we lost it, and it's a big amount for Ukraine, and and after that nobody believed in us. It was very hard. So I'm not sure that.
No, but it's all about credibility, you know. After the 5 years, look at the team, look at your great job, look at this product. No, it's like
I still believe that it's too early to say that, and it's a huge room for improvement. But if you talk about venture capitalists, so let's come back to your question about venture capitalists. I feel that they sit, a lot of them sit on huge amount of capital, and because the economy is unstable and it will be high level of inflation, they try to invest, they try to write big checks, because they understand by sitting on this capital, they will lose it. Because of the inflation, and it's a good timing to raise big amounts.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But again, so it's also a challenging time, because you need to convince people to invest in you remotely. So you do not meet with them in person. It's very rare. So we raised capital without meeting with these people. It was insane. Like just through the Zoom call in 1 week, we receive a term sheet.
Wow, congrats. It's really great job. And what is your advice for the startups, how they can survive during the COVID?
I think just you need to work in. There are a few, could be different paths of strategic or tactics that you can apply. First of all, work on something which is broken today. So, for instance, you can improve. You can go to the market which is down, and you have time to build something. And when the market catch up and the COVID will be defeated, you can basically you can catch the wave, or you need to work on something which is very hard today. So like ed tech, like healthcare, telehealthcare, etc. So both things could work. But the greatest thing today is that a lot of people laid off, and you have a much higher pool of talent. So it will be much easier to find co-founder with whom you can start business, and who've been previously involved in some companies and has some experience. And you don't need a lot of capital to start something today. You work remotely, so you just need laptop and internet. So don't be frustrated too much, and stay positive, and and be flexible, and challenge yourself every day, and challenge your ideas. Share your ideas with people, and test your hypothesis fast.
Yeah, because plus you're so lucky because you have a really great co-founder.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this is a brilliant guy. Say hi to Andrew. And last question, let's talk about millennials. And this is question, if you were to open your own business in the future, like the next 10 years or 5 years, but you like a 21, maybe 18, 25 years old guy from Europe or like Latin America, from Asia, maybe New York City, what kind of business will you open and why? I know.
It's a hard one.
You can say like same like a Restream, but yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of this product strategy. So when we focus on one simple feature or one simple that solves one simple problem, and I would focus on mono product, and probably it has to be a subscription-based business model, because it's much more, predictable. Your runway is much more predictable because you can predict your costs and you can predict your revenue. So subscription model and simple mono product. And in terms of areas, I don't know, just I would check maybe some Reddit threads and we'll try to understand what of these big companies, what issues they have. Again, so in terms of B2C consumer or B2B, I'm a big fan of prosumer-consumer businesses, because when you build self-services and you deal with a high volume of users, and you can test much more hypotheses, and you can automate more things. But when you build B2B, heavy B2B product, you need to sell it, and you go to top managers, you sign this contract, and your product could be not so good. And then these top managers, they just push their teammates to use your software, and you think that you're a king, but your user experience and your product could suck. So it's the reason why I personally would focus on consumers, and SMBs.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex, for this interview. It was so amazing, and thank you for your amazing product.
Thank you so much, Manan, for inviting me, and thank you for helping us test our solution. I know that we had some issues in the past, and like we continue to improve it, work hard every day, and like every time when you go live, some of our teammates try to look at your stream, and we have like internally some conversation and investigations. So you are on our radar for sure.
Yeah. Yes, please don't give up. Your team actually amazing, and guys, you should be unicorn in next year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Yeah, bye-bye.